Hello everybody, this is Mo, and this is Mo Chat. Take a look at my hair. Can you imagine me in a soldier's uniform? This is Mo's Opinion Time. I want to talk to you about being a veteran and being in a war zone, and then having to come back home and deal with everything at home. It's not easy. Let's talk about it. Now, shake my hair out and get back to my old self, right? Or my new self, you might say. It is 9:08 p.m. It is October the 7th, 2016. You know, I read a lot of articles about soldiers coming home and they're disabled. You know, I came home from Saudi Arabia in Desert Storm, and I am disabled. I have fibromyalgia, I have arthritis in both hips, and it is difficult for me sometimes to deal with things. You know, and there are a lot of people that don't understand what a soldier goes through. Well, I'm about to give you a rundown of what happens to you being a soldier in the U.S. Army. It is not easy. It is not easy at all. First of all, there are many branches of the Army, yes. There are many branches of the military. Okay, you have the Navy, you have the Marines, the Air Force, you have the National Guards, you've got the reservists, okay, you've got the Air Corpsmen, you've got everything. There's so many of us. But the U.S. Army is one of the United States' most amazing group of people there is, okay? We are called out to everywhere. All over the world, there are places where American soldiers, men and women, every race, American, they are everywhere, all around the world, and they see things that you would not even believe, okay? Now, because YouTube has so many rules about showing things such as disasters and things like that, well, for this opinion time, I'm very glad that I don't have the ability to show you some things, because if I was to show it to you, you might very well not watch me anymore. Because being a soldier and being in wartime is one of the most horrible things that can happen. Depending on where you're stationed and what happens to you and your experiences, you bring that home with you. No matter how hard you try to leave it behind, it is always, always in your mind. And when you come home and you're disabled, people tend to look at you in a different way. Even if they don't mean to, okay? Lots of people understand what a veteran goes through because maybe they're married to one or they're related to one, and they've heard it, so they understand. But there are a lot of people that are your basic civilians, okay? So I'm talking like in an Army persona here, okay? If you're not an Army person or a veteran, then we call you civilians, okay? And how you react to us makes a big difference in our lives. You know, I think being in the U.S. Army and helping my country, it gave me a sense of pride. But when I came home from the Army and I was no longer in the Army, I had to deal with everything that was here. Everything in civilian life. I had to change my whole way of acting, because in the Army you act different. Okay, a soldier is expected to act honorable, always on time, loyal, trustworthy, where We're expected to be strong, never to lay down. You know, you just have to keep going all the time. And then when you get hurt and you come home, your psyche is affected by that. And how people treat disabled people, it's the same thing. Okay, a disabled person, even if they're not a veteran, they deal with those same emotions as well. They could have PTSD and not even know it. Because when you are in stressful situations and traumatic events are happening, these things weigh on a person's mind. Some people handle it. They never have a bit of trouble. They just go on and they make it. Other people have a hard time dealing with it. Because when you come home and then you have to deal with a stressful situation, your mental ability to deal with that is sometimes triggered back to having to deal with like you did in the Army, and you become aggressive or you become depressed because you feel like you're not good enough to handle it anymore, and this triggers your PTSD and it gets worse. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. I do have that. I'm doing a lot better with it now than I did years ago. Of course, it's been 20 years since Desert Storm, so, you know, I deal with things a lot better now. But I am doing this opinion time to just share with people how important it is to treat people with respect and to try and understand what they're dealing with. Because we all deal with things differently. We all have traumatic events in our lives, but soldiers in wartime, theirs is so great and so difficult to handle that when they come home, they look for someone who can understand that. And so many times we run into people that just don't understand it. So read up on your soldiers. Read up on what happens to them. You know, study about it so that you can help others better. I want to give a shout out to all the VA hospitals that help disabled veterans and to all the hospitals that help disabled people, because I believe that we're kind of in the same group. It may be different situations, but every disabled person deserves respect in every way. It is not always their fault that they are disabled, and it is our responsibility as human beings to be respectful to everyone and to help people when we can. Try to understand the people that you are around and try to be compassionate, because the world needs more compassion. If we run out of compassion, we're going to replace it with anger, and anger only causes more pain. So let's work together to be kind to each other and be compassionate and caring and respectful in every sense of the word. This is MoChat. This is my opinion. Have a good evening. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you have any comments or any ways that perhaps you help other people, I'd like to know about it. I'd love to do a video on someone helping other people. If you would like to share that information, please do that. I would be glad to put the word out for you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Have a good night. Bye.